So welcome back. I'm having so much fun doing these videos. I really hope that you guys are appreciating them and getting a chance to take a look at them. It looks like, based on the views, a bunch of you are seeing them, if not once, more than once. So that's great. Any, future suggestions are always welcome. I thought what I would do is start to discuss the chakras, and I think that those are a good standpoint because we have been discussing a lot about the energy body, and so that we have a better understanding of how the energy body may be divisible, or where we can start to assess the kind of practices that we might want to do, the kind of postures that we might want to do to help balance some of our imbalances. So a brief overview of the chakra system and what it is. It is comprised of the subtle anatomy. So we're looking into the energy body, and in our body, there are gajillions of energy channels referred to in yoga as nadis. And the nadis, or energy pathways within the body, are similar to what you would experience in, let's say, TCM, traditional Chinese medicine, where we refer to the meridians. Okay, it's the same thing when you look at the Thai tradition, you would refer to them as the sen lines. So in the yogic tradition, they're called the nadis, and these are literally like highways for moving prana, or energy. And while you have lots of little intersections of these energy pathways, you have the seven major centers, which are known as the seven major chakras. There are chakras everywhere in different areas within the body, but the seven major ones reside up the spine. And they actually live just slightly in front of the spine, and they blossom forward towards the front of our body. So if you could imagine a spine of energy, and it roots into the spine, blossoming forward into the front part of your body. This is what the main energy channel with the intersecting chakras would look like. It is not something that is actually tangible. You can't cut open your body and find a spinning vortex of energy, but it is something that with practice and with sensitivity you can start to sense into. So along the body, in these seven major energy centers, we have sort of from the ground to the crown, and then we have a crown from the ground. Moving from the ground upwards, we become more and more subtle. So the root chakra at the very base of the perineum is referred to as the root chakra, or Mooladhara chakra, and this energy center deals with our survival. So it has a lot to do with our eating habits, it has a lot to do with our physical structure, it has a lot to do with our sense of home and stability and balance. It has a lot to do with how we essentially navigate in our world in a place where we have less fear and feel more secure and safe. So that is a very physical experience in the root chakra, and then we move up a little bit higher and a little bit higher and a little bit higher until we get to the crown chakra, which is right at the crown of the head, and it actually blossoms upward, and it is seen as the 1,000-petaled lotus. So this 1,000-petaled lotus is our most sort of subtle expression, and it's our connection to source, or our ability to understand higher consciousness. So they become more and more subtle. Now, when we move upwards, we're moving into a bit more of a spiritual realm, where we see us might be very bound by our physical structure, or maybe attachments to tangible material things. And we move into a more liberating place as we take the channels upwards into a place where it's a bit more universal and very disconnected from the actual physical stuff. This way, working down, is our ability to sort of have that spiritual experience, that knowing, that intuition that all sorts of resides around the third eye, come down and to become our reality and what we would actually manifest. So the upward movement is our liberating channels, and our downward movement is our manifesting abilities. So that being said, I'm going to split these up a little bit more because it's going to be way too long of a video if I discuss what each of them do in detail. I'm really suggesting for you guys to take a look at some of the chakra workshops that we have coming up. There's one with Adele Stratton that I think that is probably going to be the bee's knees, and that's happening at the end of November. So take a look at that one, and if you're really interested in chakra stuff. So root chakra, like I said, has a sense to do with your stability. Each of these chakras have colors that are going to help to resonate the energy centers, as well as sounds, as well as smells, as well as minerals and gems and stones that are going to help to increase or decrease some of the vibrational qualities of these places, etc. So what happens in our nadis is there's at these places where there's lots of energy intertwining, they create these wheels or discs, and they circle sort of thing. And from that, they take information from our environment inwards, as well as from the chakras, we distribute information outwards. So each of the chakras along the spine, or that subtle anatomy spine, is going to deliver information to our organs, to all of that stuff, all of our physicality, but it also is going to have a lot to do with the psychology of the body as well. So especially on an emotional level, and having a better sense of understanding of where you are and where you could work on. And you know, a lot of these things are things that happen to us from a very young time. The chakras are fully sort of developed and established by the time we're in our early to late teens, but the majority of them, our sense of survival, our connection to our emotions, how to work through emotions and remain fluid, these all are things that we had given to us when we were very young. So you'll see a lot of therapists do inner child stuff, and part of that, you know, they may not be coming at it from an energetic perspective, but a lot of that is the same sort of connection with how we were raised. And unfortunately, a lot of us don't have an opportunity to choose how we were raised. You may have come from a place where you were adopted. You might have lost a mother or a father at a very young age. You might have not developed a very good relationship with one of them. You might have had a really awful relationship with one of them, or both of them, or you know, somebody else might have been your primary caregiver. And all of these are going to have or have an effect on our understanding of who we are. And so right from the get-go, if we don't have a good solid foundation or a sense of home, the foundation of the chakras at the root moving upwards is already weak. Most of us can always work on some level of grounding, and the Vata stuff that we're working on pacifying in that Sama set is really good for helping root chakra issues. Okay, so where these create vortexes, they're either going to be excessive in energy, they're going to be deficient in energy, they might be blocked of energy, they might be really stagnant, and that is all going to be better understood the deeper you start to develop the relationship with yourself. So the next chakra up would be our water center, and this is the second chakra called Svadhisthana Chakra, and it is a lot to do with our sort of security in, you know, finances, how we provide, the relationships we have, how we work through relationships, not only with other people, but with ourselves as well. It's a very feminine place. It's the watery place in our body. But as a result, it being an emotional center, when we have undealt with emotions or we don't know how to deal with them, we typically stuff them in that drawer in the hips. And therefore, when you start to do hip opening postures, they're usually very emotionally driven reactions, because it's all starting to bubble up. Okay, so the second center, again, is going to have a vibrational quality, and the whole idea when you start to work with the chakras is that you're literally trying to tune them back into the appropriate vibration. And so there is a level or a that goes on in these places, and you're trying to get that vibrational quality back. So or imbalance. If you have a really dominant chakra, okay, so let's say you have like a CEO, bigwig, dressed to the nines all the time, really fit body, abdominal areas nice and ripped. There is like the sense of power, but it almost borders that ego space. That person would be really operating from their solar plexus, which is the third chakra. It's our power center and it's the home of the ego. But it is the transformational place because it's fire. And fire destructs to regrow. So the lesson of this power center is finding an ability to sit within your power without it dominating your experience, and for you to be able to utilize your power for the sake and greaterness of everyone rather than just the self-serving ego. So there's lots of different lessons we can learn there. Twists are great. How do you know if it's in or out of balance? Well, look at your physical symptoms. What do you got going on for you? Do you have really bad cramping when it comes around to your moon phase? Do you have a complete, even though it's 100% irrational, fear of speaking? So maybe you can look at your throat chakra. Do you have, or have you had, been taken advantage of, or maybe you've lost a loved one and you're grieving, and so the physical symptom of this is closing down around the heart chakra. And so when you come into things like yoga postures that ask you to open up here, what's going on for you? Is this really challenging to open this space? Is it really hard to sit comfortably in meditation? Is it really hard for you to imagine yourself as literally a spiritual being? So all of these things are going to have relationships with your own body, and when you check in and get to know your body, you're going to be able to figure out where you can and cannot work, where you operate mostly out of, what is your weakest or desensitized chakra, and where you can start to work on your meditations, where you can start to direct your yoga practices. Maybe you start to choose different colors that you're going to wear, or gems that you're going to wear, or essential oils that you're going to diffuse within your house, etc., based on the qualities of these helping to bring more balance for you. So it does and can seem very new agey to people, but hopefully when I go into a little bit more of them individually, you will have a better understanding of where you may have weaknesses or excessiveness, and you can kind of just start the inquiry. You can go, okay, well, this is interesting, or this stuff is like, if something around you is going, I want to know more, then go grab a book. There's some amazing books out there, and I would probably suggest looking at an author. Her name's Anadea Judith. She's great. She does 2 books that I really like. One is called Eastern Body, Western Mind, and the other one's called Wheels of Life. Chapters usually always has 1 or 2 of those copies in both of those books. But you can get lots of information off the internet, just Google. You can also do, just like if you did your dosha test with the Samaset this month, you can do a chakra test. You can just Google those 2. You probably have to give an email and they'll spam you for your life, but those kinds of things can give you kind of an understanding, even just how the questions in those are shaped. You'll have a kind of an understanding of where it's going. The hard part about it is that you have to be really honest. It means that you need to be humble. It means that you have to look at yourself. It means that you have to look at the relationships that you've developed and literally how much you've contributed to them. It also means that you have to start to be able to see the mirror of your experience. And this is probably one of the hardest things for most people. When they find themselves constantly surrounded by negativity and crappy people and what is it about you that they're drawn to, but also the stuff that you're not liking in them? Can you possibly see that within yourself? And so starting to be able to look at yourself in a way that, there's no judgment. This is just all about getting to know who you are, and it's a process, and it's ever changing, and your chakras will always be and but to be able to start to make let's say these amazing things that are going on in your mind. You're so creative, but you have all these, an inventor. This is a perfect example. An inventor that has all these ideas, but they never ever make them. This would be somebody who needs to direct better from the manifesting up here, the liberating stuff up here, down into the manifestation stuff, so that they actually do the things. They create their reality according to their creativity, according to their desires, okay? Whereas somebody who does nothing but operate from their physicality, but has a real disconnect with being able to draw or sing or be an abstract thinker or play the devil's advocate or be able to empathize in different ways, these people could work on becoming more sensitive, more in tune with a little bit more finer details. So, energy centers, they reside along the body. The 7 major energy centers is the root chakra, Mooladhara chakra, the color is red, and it deals with our sense of survival. The second chakra, Svadhisthana chakra, is the color orange. Orange is our emotional center, and it's the element of water. Root is earth, element of water, and it has our ability to feel. Okay, the third chakra is at the solar plexus, and it is our fire center. It is the color yellow. It is referred to as Manipura. That was painful. Manipura chakra. Manipura chakra. And it's that ego space. So this has a sense of being able to have power. The heart chakra is moving up here. It is primarily the color green. Sometimes you'll see it in pink. Pink typically means more love and stuff. Green is more healing, but normally it's the color green. The green of Anahata chakra is, again, our sensibility to love and be loved, to give and receive equally. The throat chakra, Vishuddha chakra, deals with our sense of communication. So not only how well we can externally communicate, but also how well we can hear. Look for stuff around the teeth, the mouth, the throat, inner ears, injuries, that kind of thing, scar tissues, think of your teeth, all that stuff. Agnya chakra, the third eye, this is our sense of intuition, our ability to know, our sense of clairvoyance, of trusting, our gut feeling. Then it's the crown chakra, Sahasrara. This is the 1,000-petal lotus at the top of the crown, and this is again our connection to source, our understanding of godliness, our recognition that we are all these senses of spirit, intermingling in one world, going through a human experience, having faith in anything. It doesn't have to be God. It can be Mother Nature. It can be consciousness. It can be the Buddha. It can be anything that makes sense to you, but really gives you a structured belief system. Okay. I think that's going to sum it. This is a long one, but hopefully an interesting one. I will see you all soon. Oh, and sorry, I forgot the throw in here. Oh, I don't think I told you the colors. Blue, indigo, and colorless color. So this is like opalescent-y, every color in one, yet no color at all, clear kind of thing. Okay, so for all of you who've been waiting to figure out what color your yoga mat should be, there you go.